Today's YouTube is for the parents. I want to talk to you as an OBGYN and beg you to talk about these things with your kids. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Jennifer Lincoln, board-certified OBGYN and very excited owner of this shirt, Wild Feminist. It's by Wild Fang. Not sponsored, just bought it, love it, and I'll put the link to their website in the show notes. Okay, fashion influencer. So usually I make content for people who are uterus owners, who are having periods, on birth control, who have questions about that kind of stuff. But today I'm talking to you parents. How you prepare your kids for how they understand their body when they're older makes a huge difference in how they view themselves and the world and how they feel comfortable in their own bodies. So here's what I need you to cover with them. The good news, you don't have to be a pediatrician or a gynecologist in order to do this effectively. So let's go. Just so you know, I've got a ton of resources, websites, books that I think are amazing to help have these discussions. Those are all in my show notes, so check them out. And if you like this kind of content, go ahead and like, subscribe, and hit the bell so that we can keep this fun little game rolling. I need you to talk about body parts. I know that sounds really basic, but I'm begging you parents, please call body parts what they are. Yes, that means saying the words vagina, penis, nipples, scrotum, all that stuff. And why? Because when we use the right words, we tell our kids it's just another body part and it's nothing to be ashamed of. When we make up funny words like pee and I don't know, there's like a million euphemisms for vagina and vulva, but all of those words confuse kids because they think that they need to use a code word to talk about down there. And we have actual studies to show that when kids know their anatomic body parts and use the right words, they are more likely to report abuse if it happens. And of course, we don't want that to happen, but we do want them to understand that their bodies are worth speaking up about if something goes wrong. Number 2, I want you to talk about consent, but this isn't a one-time conversation that you have in the 5th grade when you have the conversation. This starts when they're babies. It might sound crazy, like, asking your baby for consent, but you can do it. An example is saying, "Can I change your diaper?" You may think I'm nuts. Jen, I'm going to talk to a 3-month-old and say, "Can I change your diaper?" But it gets it going. I did it with my kids, and before you know it, they become part of the process, and they will let you know if it's okay or if it's not okay. And this transitions to when they're a little bit older. "Can I give you a hug? Do you want to give your aunt a kiss?" And if they don't, respect it. That teaches them that their bodies are their bodies, they are in charge, and people can't just kiss them or hug them or touch them when they don't want to be touched. Okay, 3rd thing, and this might make you a little uncomfortable, masturbation. Yes, I said it. So here's the thing. Masturbation is normal and healthy, and it teaches us what feels good about our bodies. And kids are kind of like grown-ups in that when something feels good, they want to keep doing it. So you will notice that you will find your kid at some point masturbating or touching themselves or rubbing up against something, and they're not doing it in a sexual way. They just know that this feels good and I like it, mommy, so why can't I keep doing it? If you freak out, you are engendering them with shame. And if you've done it, it's okay. Moving forward, no shame in our game. What you can do is instead you can say, "Oh, does that feel good, honey? Okay." That's totally okay to do. It's great when your body feels good. We just have a few rules. One is that we do that in our bedroom. And number 2 is that we wash our hands afterwards, if they're using their hands. That teaches them that it's okay to feel good. And in fact, you know what the safest form of sex is? The sex you have with yourself. And I know you're like, "Oh my gosh, I don't want to think about my baby having sex," but hey, it's happening. You were a baby once too. So doing this just normalizes it and teaches kids that it's okay and their bodies aren't dirty. Okay, I want you to talk about periods, not just with your daughters and those who have a uterus, but also with your boys. Why? Because they are going to come in contact with somebody at school who has their first period or maybe has a leak on their pants and they see that blood. And if they don't know what's going on, they might freak out or they might make fun of her. So it's important that everybody understands what periods are. And if you've got daughters, please talk about it sooner rather than later, because after their first period, it's too late. They're at school, they're scared, they don't know what's going on. It's totally okay, and you can show them, have products out, you can say, "Here's what you can use, here's why it happens." It's just another bodily function. So preparing your kids for their periods helps them to feel in charge when it does happen. And like I said, I'll put really good resources for what can help with this conversation down in the show notes too. And a caveat when you are talking about periods with your kids, we have actual studies to show that how we as mothers describe periods and experience our periods, how we tell our kids what they're going to be like, actually can make their period better or worse. Meaning that if we walk around the house being like, oh my God, period, I hate my period, blah, 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 it's the worst, that sets our kids up to think that it's a bad event and that it's uncomfortable. But when we talk about it in a bit more positive language, they actually see themselves more positively. So I think that's a really cool tip to know. Talk to your kids about odors. Yes, odors. And I'm not just talking about armpit stink, although that's really important too, because that's part of puberty, and normalizing it and saying, hey, when you get older, hormones are going to change, you're going to make some body odor. Don't make them feel ashamed, but tell them how to clean and deodorant that they can use. The same goes for vaginal odor. And I mention that specifically because in our culture, we're obsessed that vaginas are supposed to smell like morning paradise and rose bushes and all the garbage that Summer's Eve wants to sell you. What you can do is you can empower your daughters right now and say, you know what? You're going to notice that you're going to have some discharge. Here's what's normal. Here's what's something that might not be normal, and I want to know about it. And yeah, it's normal if it has a little bit of a scent, and there's nothing wrong with that, and that's normal. And you can then segue that into, and here's how you clean yourself down there. And I've got a whole bunch of TikToks and YouTubes all about products to use, products not to use. And it starts now that you talk about it with them. That way they don't fall prey to what they see in the feminine hygiene aisle, the commercials, the products geared directly to teenagers, which is disgusting, by Vagisil. So you're empowering them with this information. So yes, as a gynecologist, these are the things that I want you to start talking about with your kids. And for some of these topics, it starts when they're babies. And I haven't even mentioned sex yet. So you might be saying, Jen, you're a gynecologist. Why haven't you talked about that? We'll get there in another YouTube, but I thought this was a really good start. Drop your questions and comments in the comment section below, and go ahead and follow me at Dr. Jennifer Lincoln on TikTok, Instagram. Let's hang out some more, and let's just keep talking, friends. All right, have a good one.